Everyone talks about the first coming of Christ, the night of Bethlehem. Everyone awaits the second coming, his glorious return at the end of time. But almost no one knows that the saints, the mystics, and one of the great doctors of the church spoke of a third coming. A silent coming, hidden, real. A coming that happens every single year and begins on the very first day of Advent. This is not a theory, it is a mystery the church has always known, but one that very few Christians truly live. Today, I want to take you inside this secret, inside the middle coming of Christ, the one spoken of by Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. And once you understand what it is, you will never live Advent the same way again. For many people, Advent has become nothing more than a calendar to flip through, a race for gifts, a season full of things to do. But for the saints, it was the opposite. It was the time when God draws closer to the earth, the time when heaven breathes nearer, almost leaning out of eternity to knock on the heart of man. Padre Pio used to say, "God walks constantly through our streets, but during Advent, he walks closer." Mother Speranza called it the month of God's tenderness, when he seeks man and desires to be found. Powerful words. The mystics never lived Advent as a mere liturgical season, but as a time of real visitation. And there is a precise, profound, almost forgotten reason. A reason that brings us directly to the words of one of the greatest saints of the Church, Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. Saint Bernard was not just any mystic. He was a man who saw with the eyes of the Spirit. In a famous Advent sermon, he explained that there are three comings of Christ. The first, in Bethlehem, visible to men in the flesh. The second, at the end of time, when Christ will return in glory to judge. And then the hidden coming, which he called Adventus Medius, the middle coming. And he said these exact words: "In the first coming, Christ was seen on earth and lived among men. In the second, he will be seen in glory, and every eye shall behold him. But in the middle coming, he comes in spirit and in power, and only the elect see him." These words are a spiritual earthquake, because Saint Bernard is telling us that Advent is not a memory, it is an event. He is saying that Christ comes today, now. He comes in a real way, invisible to the eyes but perceptible to the soul. And this middle coming has a very precise purpose: to enter the heart of man and transform it from within. It is like a seed being planted, like a light seeking to be lit, like a grace that only asks to be received. Saint Bernard explains that this coming is hidden because only the pure of heart recognize it. Not because God is far, but because we are distracted. So the question becomes, if Christ comes in spirit and power, who notices it? The mystics, the saints, and the simple souls are the ones who recognize Jesus' presence. But how do they do it? Let's see it through their testimonies. The mystics never described Advent as calendar time, but as a physical drawing near of Christ to the soul. Saint Faustina Kowalska wrote in her diary the words Jesus said to her: "During the time of Advent, prepare your heart, for I desire to dwell in it." Faustina describes feeling a stronger, more tender, closer presence. She writes that during those days, "Jesus came into my soul more frequently with an indescribable sweetness." And she notes something extremely important. These visits were silent. Not visible apparitions, not spectacular miracles, but a presence that invaded the soul. From the notebooks of Maria Valtorta, a profound truth also emerges. Jesus tells her that Advent is not a passive waiting. "I pass invisibly among men and look for hearts that await me." Valtorta describes this passing as a breeze, a sudden peace and inner brightness, something that calls you even if you cannot explain it. Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich saw scenes from the life of Jesus, and she recounts that during Advent she perceived a visitation of heaven upon the earth. Not because Christmas was approaching as a memory, but because Christ was drawing near now, in spirit. For her, Advent was an open door, a window cracked toward the divine. Many Christians don't know it, but in the spiritual tradition, Advent is considered a time of greater grace. It is as if God were more sensitive to prayer, as if He walked more slowly so we could catch Him. Souls are more receptive. Pain, nostalgia, memories, everything mixes together and opens wounds that Christ can heal more easily. Think of the Advent wreath. It begins in darkness, and week by week a new candle is lit. The light grows. This is the symbol of the spiritual journey of man. The saints said that the approach of Christmas is not merely chronological. It is God entering history. And every year, He wants to enter yours. Saint Bernard says it clearly. He who does not receive Christ in the middle coming will not be ready for the last. It means Advent is a training for the final encounter with Him. Saint Bernard says that this coming of Christ happens only in hearts that prepare themselves. So, how do we prepare? Here are 4 concrete steps. 1. Find inner silence. You don't need hours or harsh penance, just 5 minutes a day. No phone, no music, no words. Because Christ comes on tiptoe, and if there is noise, you won't hear Him. 2nd confession. The mystics all said the same thing. A soul in God's grace perceives the middle coming more easily. And if you've been far from the sacraments, Advent is the moment when Christ calls you more insistently, not with judgment but with longing. 3rd simple prayer. You don't need 1,000 devotions. Choose one. Even a single sentence, for example. Come, Lord Jesus, into my life. Said daily, sincerely, it is enough. 4. A hidden act of charity. Saint Bernard insisted, nothing draws Christ more than hidden love. Not something public, not something to post online. A small, secret act done only for God and for another person. This opens the heart to the middle coming more than any long prayer. Saint Bernard said that in the middle coming, Christ comes as light to disperse our darkness. So remember this, Christ truly comes. Not symbolically, not as a memory. He comes in spirit and power. But only those who open their hearts recognize Him. Maybe you are tired, maybe you are wounded, maybe you feel nostalgia for something you cannot name. It is Christ visiting you, His silent passing through your soul, His middle coming, wanting to ignite in you a light that no one can extinguish. We are in the time of Advent, and heaven is drawing near. Do not miss this visitation. And if you want to live this Advent differently, deeper, more awake, then say with me right now, come, Lord Jesus, come into my life, come into my heart. Write it below in the comments as a small act of faith. And may this Advent be for you the beginning of a new path, a path lit by that light which once came into the world, and today desires to come into you. May God bless us all.